I'm 44 years old. I'm dying of cancer. I most likely have a couple months to live. It's hard to tell though. I started feeling really weird stomach cramps. And I immediately thought they were from motorcycle fatigue, from all the trips and the vibrating and everything. So I ignored them. And then I ignored them for about 6 months. So finally I made it to the emergency room and they did a CAT scan and found an intestinal blockage, which is why I wasn't eating and throwing up. And then they decided to do exploratory surgery the next day. But when they got in there, they found a fist-sized tumor 2/3 down in my small intestines, and they said my entire abdominal cavity was caked in cancer.
Put it on just like an evening dress, break to the right, sway to the left. In the morning, everything is.
I got the nickname Catfish in college. I was studying at Virginia Tech, and I decided I wanted to spend a semester at Franciscan University of Steubenville, and we were watching spring training, and my roommates at Virginia Tech bet me $1 to call myself a nickname when I got to Steubenville. So we started throwing names around, and my roommate really liked Catfish Hunter. He was a famous baseball pitcher.
Got him, and that'll do it. As the Catfish comes in and strikes out.
Went on to Virginia Tech. It's a pretty different world than a Catholic high school, so I was challenged in my faith. I lost it, came back, lost it, came back, lost it, came back. I ended up rooming with my best friend since I was 3 years old. We grew up together on the same street. When we got to Virginia Tech, I started asking all these questions, but I would ask them out loud in our dorm room till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he just got more and more confused. So he eventually found the Catholic book section in the Virginia Tech library, and he just started reading. He's a much better reader than I am. So he would summarize the books for me and give me the answers that I was looking for, but he also got them for himself. So we ended up both converting back to the church together. It was very difficult at Virginia Tech to live the faith because I wanted to party as much as anybody and do everything else everyone else was doing, but my faith was telling me that wasn't good for me to do. I ended up going to Steubenville for 1 semester while I was at Tech, and that's when the Catfish nickname started. When I went to Steubenville to start my master's, I was studying in Austria. I went to visit a friend in Paris over the Easter break on my way to Fatima to pray for a vocation to see whether I should still try the religious life. My heart started beating fast, I got really sick, and I had to stay in Paris instead of making it to Fatima. And the next day, a woman named Blanche took me to a church that was run by the community of St. John, who were a bunch of young brothers. And the day after that, I had a conversation with one of them, being translated through my friend Blanche, and I decided I wanted to try joining them. Then after about 2 years there, I just decided that I was kind of beating my head against the bush. As much as I was trying to make it, my heart really wasn't there. When I left, it was like pulling the rug out from underneath me. I questioned everything I'd ever done, every decision I'd ever made. I wondered why I didn't get to have the experiences everyone else did in life. So what I did was I went straight to Vail, Colorado. I was scared. You're what's called institutionalized. You don't know how to function outside of a monastery. So they had room and board, housing all together at Vail. I became a lift operator, and I just wanted to basically party for a year. So I did. So about halfway through that year, I realized that it was a very unhealthy lifestyle and it wasn't really what I had thought it would be. I met a friend of mine at the cathedral who was a brother before me named Eric Chambly. He immediately took me out to lunch, saw that I was a mess, asked me if he could contact Archbishop Charles J. Chaput for me. The next day at Vail, while I was getting the lift ready to operate, Archbishop Chaput called me and invited me down to meet him. So the next week I drove down from Vail to meet Chaput, and I started meeting him once a month. I was able to find a lot of young friends my own age who had had similar experiences. So that really helped me to not feel alone, which in many ways that's why I went to Vail, was to be alone, was to live a life I'd never lived before. Since I got cancer, it's been an amazing experience. In many ways, I'm a very sensitive person. I'm hurt easily by people. Over the last maybe 5 years or so, I've slowly kind of isolated myself from people. I let all that pain from humanity, just us being human beings, we hurt each other all the time. I let that build, and I slowly isolated myself from people. And one amazing gift of what's happened after cancer is every single person I've ever met in my life has reached out to me, has shown me love, has tried to show me community. It's just kind of freed me from all that isolation I was carrying for all those years. I had a friend who's a successful businessman fly over from Australia and rented a Lamborghini just so I could drive it, so I could have that experience. I've had people drop everything and just show up in my house to say hello. My parents dropped everything for 3 months and just moved straight into my house to take care of me. My mom cooked me meals every day. My dad fixed the garage door, fixed the house, did everything for me. So it's just been an amazing experience. As horrible as cancer is, God allows bad things to happen because He can bring really good things out of them. And I've experienced that with cancer. In many ways, I've always longed for heaven. I've longed to die. I've always felt like the life we live is just a short 80 years or 44 years compared to an eternity. To me, eternity is a much better option. So I've always seen this life as just kind of a starting point for when you really start to live, which is in the next life. And I've lived a crazy life. I've had experiences very few people have had. I've been all over the world. I've lived in a monastery, rode my motorcycle to Alaska. I've fell in love many times. There are not many things that I really haven't experienced or want to experience, and even if there was, I still think they're only secondary to what the experience of being with God for eternity would be like. I drank the Catholic Kool-Aid since I was a young kid, and I still do. So I've struggled with it I've struggled with it many times, in and out, in and out, in and out. But I'm very content. I'm very satisfied with where I'm at, and I'm very excited about the possibility of moving on to the next life and seeing what it is.
Put it on, it's like an evening dress.